This video is going to be all about the steps I'm taking towards learning French and how you can learn French too. So a bit of a backstory as to why I decided to learn French. Well, from secondary school I started learning French and I continued it on the whole way through because it was compulsory. I enjoyed French the most in those early beginning stages, and towards the end I started losing interest. I think it was because I picked up Spanish in year 8 and it all started to become quite confusing. I always said that French was a language that I wanted to be fluent in, and so I made sure I dropped Spanish just so I could continue on focusing with French. And so I did want to take French as an A-level, but I was discouraged from doing that, so I ended up taking other subjects that were completely not related to language at all. So French got pushed to the side. Last year I did a little bit of traveling. I went to Copenhagen. It's in Denmark and they speak Danish there. I didn't really see myself learning Danish. I think it's one of the most difficult Scandinavian languages that there are. If you're going to learn a Scandinavian language, it's probably better to stick with Swedish. I hear it's easier than the other Scandinavian languages, Norwegian, Danish, Finnish, and the rest. I was contemplating learning Swedish at one point, but then I realized there's really no point unless I'm gonna go live in Sweden. So yeah, we'll cross that barrier if it ever happens, which I don't think it will. I also went to the United Arab Emirates. I went to Dubai. That was an amazing holiday. I went there because my friend was getting married and it was just a really good time. Of course they speak Arabic there, and I don't really see myself learning Arabic, even though it is a great language to learn. There are Arabic speaking people all over the world. It's a really good language to have, but I just didn't see it as something that I would want to learn, especially since I would be starting from the ground zero. I also went to Uganda, which is where I'm originally from, and I am trying where I can to learn my mother tongue, Acholi. I have an Acholi book for beginners, so I guess that's helping me slowly. And last year I also went to France. I went to live in Chantilly, Gouvio. I ended up staying there for a month where I took care of 2 young boys, helping them with day-to-day activities, especially when they got back home, giving them dinner. So I made the executive decision to go and live in France to see how life was there, and I might just make a whole separate video as to why I went and how my experience was, how I even got there in the first place. And yeah, that will be in a separate video. So when I was in France, I was kind of forced to speak it, you know, forced to speak it, and I did learn a lot in that 1 month that I was there. I was meant to stay longer, but I ended up coming back early because I ended up getting a different opportunity here, so I came back. And so that brings me here. I'm in London and I've decided to learn French. I've decided to carry on what I was doing in France, what I had done in secondary school, and just generally try and become fluent. I think I can do it if I'm really dedicated to it, but as with a lot of things in life, it's just a journey that you keep journeying on. I don't think at some point I'll be able to say, yes, I have learned French. If you're trying to learn too, then these are a few things that will help you. The first thing to do is really easy if you have a smartphone, and that is to download a couple of apps. The apps I have are Duolingo and Conjugaison, or conjugation in English. Duolingo has so many languages within it to choose from. Of course, I've chosen French to learn, and it has loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of different stages. You start as a basic beginner and you progress your way along. Here's a little look as to what Duolingo looks like. There's just loads and loads of stages. Here's the stages that I haven't been through yet, and there are literally so many stages to go through in Duolingo, and I would definitely recommend it as an app to have while you are learning French. Other app is Conjugaison, and this is what Conjugaison looks like, and as you work through these apps you really do get a grasp and a feel for French, as you should do. Another great app to have on your phone is Google Translate. I find I use it constantly. When a word pops into my head, Google Translate. When I see a word I don't understand, Google Translate. It's just Google Translate for everything, and there's a button there that you press and you can actually hear the pronunciation of the words. Another thing that will help you is subscribing to French YouTube channels. I particularly like Comme Français. Geraldine teaches all about French culture, phrases that might get misconstrued, things that people get confused with, and it's just a great channel to be subscribed to. The next thing I find that helps me to learn French is basically writing French verses and choruses. If you're someone that likes to learn through music, then that would be really helpful for you to make up your own songs and sing them back to yourself just so you can learn the word. Another thing that would be really helpful is to go to conversation classes. I haven't started mine yet, but I did do some while I was in France, and I'm going to be starting up some classes really soon, so I will review the classes that I go to and let you know how they go. It's really useful writing lists of words that you want to learn or that you've heard or that you need to learn, but conversation classes really force you to put into practice what you've learned. The next thing I would suggest is to make French friends. Of course, that goes without saying, if they are your friend, then they probably will be willing to help you learn. And the next thing is to watch lots of French movies and French TV. That was something that was suggested to me by my host and conversation class leader in France. And so that is something that I've not really done, but it's something that I'm definitely going to start doing, because there was actually one person in the class who had pretty much learned everything she knew from TV, and I thought she was quite good. And so that is going to be it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you in one way or the other, and I will definitely keep you posted as to how my progress is going, and I will see you in my